It is well known that Henry VIII's mark on history was the formation of the Church of England and his 6 wives. However, his greatest legacy was likely his least favorite child. Elizabeth I, Queen of England, is known for ushering in the Golden Age and for England's Renaissance prosperity, and I plan to impart my knowledge about her unto you. For my research, I looked into Britannica and SparkNotes biographies as well as ElizabethI.org. Elizabeth I of England was grand and regal, and despite her father's dislike for her and her mother, Elizabeth was the greatest legacy and his greatest credit. She triumphed over her scary start, her cousin's menace, and pressure to marry and establish the greatest navy in the world. But in the beginning, Elizabeth had a lot to overcome. Her childhood began whenever her mother was beheaded. She was then abused by her stepfather and suspected of treason under both her brother and her sister's reign. And whenever her sister ascended to the throne, Elizabeth was imprisoned in the Tower of London until her sister Mary I of England's death because of Sir Wyatt the Younger's failed rebellion. On the 15th of January 1559, Elizabeth would ascend to the English throne in a grand coronation. But just because Elizabeth was queen, it didn't mean her life wasn't under threat from her family anymore. Mary, Queen of Scots, was Elizabeth's cousin, and in 1568, Mary fled England after losing control of her own country and was promptly placed under house arrest. In 1570, Pope Pius would issue an indirect, the first of many decisions by the popes to lead to the first of many plots. His indirect stated that England was now a Protestant nation, and the Ridolfi plot was quickly foiled whenever Elizabeth's assassination failed. Then Pope Gregory declared that any Catholic who killed Elizabeth would not be committing a sin, leading to the Babington plot of 1586, which would prove Mary, Queen of Scots' compliance and lead to Mary's execution on the 8th of February 1587. Elizabeth's cousin Mary, however, had done something Elizabeth never would, leading into our third point, dealing with Elizabeth's most infamous nickname, the Virgin Queen. For many years, Elizabeth would fend off negotiations and proposals, including the proposal of her ex-brother-in-law Philip of Spain. However, in 1588, Elizabeth addressed Parliament, stating, "I have already joined myself in marriage to a husband, namely the Kingdom of England." She was also known to make jabs at married ladies, and it's highly suspected that the reason why Elizabeth never wanted to be married was not only because of the tough decision between marrying a foreign prince and submitting England to a foreign power, or marrying an Englishman and submitting herself to someone of lesser noble status, but also due to her traumatic upbringing and her father's infamous marriages. Determined to prove her worth as England's wife, Elizabeth dived into strengthening what would become England's most well-known feature in our final point, the English Navy. In 1588, a new fleet of English ships would defeat the Spanish Armada sent by Philip of Spain in order to capture England for the Pope. However, Elizabeth's good leadership in the event led to England's greatest triumph in the Renaissance, which was the defeat of the Spanish Armada. The same English fleet would found the Roanoke colony, which was the leaping stone for the rest of the English colonies in Virginia and the Carolinas in the New World. Elizabeth I of England is by far the grandest credit to her father, who wished so deeply she had been a boy and not the blood of an adulteress. She overcame her rocky beginnings and her cousin's menace, becoming the infamous Virgin Queen whose only child was the English Navy, in order to be compared to the threatening father she idolized. On the 24th of March, 1603, Elizabeth died, and her successor, Mary, Queen of Scots' son, James I of the United Kingdom, ascended to the throne in the most peaceful transition of power that England had seen in 300 years. And that is where our presentation concludes. Thank you.